First of all, let's talk a little bit about Monster. You're part of Monster.com, which is really Monster Worldwide. What is Military Advantage and what does it do in this whole human capital piece?
Well, Military Advantage is actually the company name, but we're pretty much known as Military.com. The company was acquired in 2004 under Monster, and it started in 1999. We were entering our 11th year of operation.
So jobs and job listings are part of this whole complex then too.
That's one of many things that Military.com does, particularly with our connection with Monster, is that definitely focused toward the employment aspect. But it's the A to Z of military. When you go on there, you find, like I said, we talk about news. We're the 9th largest news destination site on the internet.
So in other words, one part of the company gets them hired, the other part makes sure that the health and welfare and well-being is all taken care of on the other end.
Absolutely,
okay.
Absolutely.
So the conference, what's your purpose at being at this big conference today, the HCMD conference here in Arlington?
Well, of course, one of the things that we do, particularly at Military.com, is focusing on human capital improvement. That being that focusing toward the employment of veterans and transitioning service members. That's one of the key areas, and that's what I'm going to be talking about today. So one of the big things that we do at Military.com, we do 34 to 40 career fairs each year around the country, and we do these at free of cost, basically focusing on helping the transitioning service members, getting them prepared to going into the workplace, as well as veterans, and highlighting skills and talents of what veterans have. One of the key things we have on our website is our military skills translator, which is very unique in that it ties in with what jobs that are available right now.
Let's talk about that first group, the people that might be coming out of military service, having maybe served in Afghanistan or Iraq. What do you find they need the most in terms of getting them prepared for the civilian workforce? Well,
you know, the best way I can answer that is to tell you a very, very short story. One of the career fairs that I was running, it was in Charleston, South Carolina, as a matter of fact. We had hundreds of people there and so forth, and I saw this young man who looked very depressed, and I walked up to him. I said, "What's the matter?" He says, "Well, there's no jobs here for me." I said, "What do you mean there's no jobs here for you? There's all kinds of people here to talk with." He says, "You know, I'm getting out of the Marine Corps, I'm a Lance Corporal, and I'm a sniper. There's no jobs here for me." And so I said, "Well, hold on a second. Well, I know a little bit about what snipers do, although I wasn't a sniper in the military, but I know a little bit. One thing is that attention to detail, understanding precision maintenance because of the weapon that you have to work for, the responsibility that's placed on you. And you got to have a security clearance. That's one of many things that I've talked to this young man about. Now, my purpose of the story is the types of skills that transitioning service members have, particularly those that come with combat-related skills that really do translate to the civilian sector. And that's one of the key things that the folks that are transitioning have a tough time understanding, and that's taking their skills, what they learned in the military, and relating it to what's going on in the civilian world.
So I would classify that as putting it, helping their self-knowledge, really, about what skills they do have.
Absolutely.
And on the employer side, how do you convince an employer that, yes, someone that might have been a sniper or any one of 1,000 functions that happen in the military actually does translate to skills that can be used in the private sector?
Well, it's about educating the employer public, getting folks to understand about what people do in the military, and more than just the obvious things of what the military service is all about, and taking those unique skills as well as the talents that these young people bring into that. Knowing that the training that's involved is very compact and compressed compared to in the civilian world, that somebody has to take twice as much time to learn to do different types of skills. So we have to spend a lot of time educating the employer public, as I call it, to get them to understand.
And do you find that for those, say, not so much maybe at the general officer level, but captains, corporals, commanders, that level, is there a cultural gear meshing that has to happen on both sides when they move into the civilian side of the world?
Absolutely, and I think that one of the things that I think military people sell themselves short about is the fact that this comfortability of being in the military and that military culture, that you can't function when you get out of it. The truth of the matter is that we do change jobs. I mean, you know, say, well, I've been in one job for 30 years. Well, not quite. You know, 2 to 3 years and you move on to do something else. So we do change jobs. We do move locations and so forth. So we do have the same types of that culture that exists in the civilian sector that people need to understand.
And you're used to showing up for work on time.
Absolutely.
You can take orders and give them.
And give them.
And sometimes that's a little maybe looser in other parts of the economy.
Well, that discipline thing is very important for everybody, and I think that if there's any one thing that a transitioning service member or veteran brings to the table is that discipline. Is the fact that ability of being to work on time, that responsibility is placed on.
And what would you tell the federal government with respect to hiring processes? What should change the most to help ease this whole process of getting veterans into the workforce in the federal government?
Well, I think for the most part, which I know that OPM is moving in the right direction on, is under the USA Jobs site, posting the resumes and being, and I think that's one step in the right direction as compared to before when there was this 9-10 page form you had to fill out and so forth. So it's truly a step in the right direction. It's keeping up with what's going on in the private sector as well. So if they continue on in that process and stay with the leverage of what's going on in the private sector, then the federal government will be there. They'll be able to get that top talent.
Dr. Vincent Patton III is Director of Community Outreach at military.com, part of Monster Worldwide. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.